Welcome to What's Happening, where we focus on events happening right here in the City of Lynn. Here with me today, Brian Mays, the director, composer, and lead in The Devil and Billy Shakes. It's a show that's going to be hosted at the Lynn Auditorium June 5th from 6:30. The doors will open, and at 8 p.m. the show will start. You could jump on to LynnAuditorium.com, or you can reach out to them via phone, 781-599-SHOW, to get your tickets. Brian, before we get too much into the subject category, I'd like to talk a little bit about you and your involvement with the show.
Okay, well, as far as about me, I'm a Lynn guy, born and raised through the Lynn public school systems, a musician coming up in the marching band playing trumpet. And ended up becoming a keyboard player in my teens and went to Berkeley and graduated from Berkeley. And this is something that's very, very different for me. Usually it's just been playing music for a living, one gig at a time, or teaching or coaching bands, producing bands in the studio. But this theater aspect of what I'm trying to do now is really new, and it's because I got involved with this writer named George Simpson from Saugus, who approached me, had written this story about a rock opera, and was interested in me helping to score it and write music for it. So we did that for a couple of years together, and released a CD, an audio CD, and then through some really strong encouragement from a lot of people that had never seen me or heard me do stuff like this, my band and I were hired to do an outdoor concert for Lynn Arts After Hours, and that's where I met Corey Jackson, and he expressed a lot of interest in the rock opera project, and then we got involved with getting him familiar with it, and he invited us to do a show at Lynn Arts After Hours, and that was a tremendous experience. We learned so much from Corey. He taught us so much about the difference between just getting up and singing a song and performing, and then trying to learn how to get a story across within that. And so it was a very valuable experience, and he's still very much in our corner. And, it's been great.
Your networking opportunities definitely came through at the right time for you, especially as a musician. I mean, it's a lifestyle that you have to live, and there's a lot of rejection. There's not a lot of positive feedback for you, especially from the people that you know and you love, and they're like, every single movie that I see where there's a guy and he's chasing his dream, it's like, hey, you can't do this music thing anymore. Mm-hmm. It's probably something you've been told over and over and over again. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, The Devil and Billy Shakes is a rock opera that's actually been done here in Lynn. You worked with Corey Jackson over at Arts After Hours. It was an outstanding show. We had some great reviews. The music was outstanding. The cool thing about this, Brian, is that it's a show that was developed from the ground up by people here in the North Shore. That's really what's awesome.
Yes. And back to the whole thing about being a musician, I've been very fortunate with a family that's been supportive since I was a little kid, encouraging me, and my close friends always being there for me. And it's actually The Devil and Billy Shake.
Billy Shakes, not Shakes, it's Shake.
Shake,
right.
Yeah. The name, George Simpson, also has sort of a punk band that he's had for years. And at one of his gigs, I guess a fan came up to him and said, "Boy, your lyrics are really, really powerful. It's like you're some kind of poet or something, like William Shakespeare." And he said, "Billy Shake." So that became like his sort of pseudonym. And so it kind of inspired him to write this.
Yeah, especially, I mean, and I'm sure that kind of hits home for a lot of theater geeks out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everybody who likes theater, I mean, they all appreciate Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Although the grammar is always kind of a little off.
It's difficult.
Challenging,
I guess.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So this show, it's going to be at the Lynn Auditorium Friday, June 5th. The doors open up at 6:30. You can enjoy the show at 8 p.m. It's going to be at the Lynn Auditorium. You can even get your tickets online at www.lynnauditorium.com, or you can visit these guys via the phone, and you can call them at 781-599-SHOW. That's 7469. So, Brian, let's talk a little bit about your role. You composed the show, you scored it, and then you were asked to be the lead. Is this something you ever done before?
No. George and I both were in the cast in the beginning. I encouraged George to play the part of Dr. Spock, who is the devil. And we just sort of made a commitment that in order to get the show out there and on its feet, we would be the guys that probably be the best representation of the work in the beginning. Not that it was about us as performers, but just trying to get the story out there. Since that time, George is backed off on the performing part of it, and he's more behind the scenes, still very active as a writer. And we've brought in a young man named Fox Prouty from Marblehead, a theater student who's been accepted to Oklahoma City as in acting, and he's playing the part of Dr. Spock the Devil, and he's bringing a whole new element to it, and we're learning things from him because he's been a theater kid since he was just old enough to go to school, and so he's got a fresh take on it, and we actually have another young girl, 15-year-old Rachel DeFavas, playing one of the demonettes, which are the girl background singers. She's fantastic. She's been one of my students for a few years. And two of the kids in the pit, Eric D'Orlando on the keyboards, because I played all the keys on the record, but then we realized that Billy Shake's persona was not really, it wasn't appropriate to have him sitting behind a keyboard. We wanted him out there as a lead singer, working the stage, being a larger-than-life figure. So we needed to get somebody to take my place and play the keys in the pit. So this young kid, Eric D'Orlando from Danvers High, he's a senior this year, tremendous pianist. He's been a student of mine for a number of years. He's playing all the keys. And then another young student of mine, Danny McCarthy, from Wilmington, no, from Stoneham. He's a great guitarist. He's playing second guitar and some keyboards. And it's just having the young blood in there is really refreshing because it keeps us on our toes. My pit orchestra leader, Kook Laurie, on guitar, fantastic guitarist, has been with me since the early 80s. My bass player, Tim Archibald, is a fantastic bass player, has been with me since the 80s as well, toured the world with him. And so we got a lot of camaraderie in this whole thing. There's about 20 of us with pit, cast, and technical crew, and they're all people I have worked with, and it's a real positive feeling. So
tell me more about this cast.
Well, we got a couple of really 1-2 punches too that we haven't talked about yet. Terry Osoro from Saugus is one of the Demonettes as well, a fantastic singer I've been working with for years. But Mary Beth Mace, who just happens to be my wife, I'm very lucky. She's a very well-known singer, rock singer, and she is featured prominently in this show as the Devil's personal secretary. Her name is Princess Shrill in the show. And she was opera trained as a kid, but then she became a rock and roll singer when she heard Pat Benatar in the 80s. And she's made a living as a rock singer. But in this show, she steals the show. And I have to say it, no matter how good I do, whenever she sings, people they respond in a positive way. So I think that's really one of the things that people will be excited about when they come to the show.
Now, this is your wife?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
I know.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. Seriously, I'm jazzed up for you. I'm gonna base my life off of your life, Brian.
Well, let's not forget George Simpson, the writer, because if it wasn't for his great story, I never would have come up with the musical ideas, and he had a lot to do with that as well. We've just been working together, and this guy he's an evil genius.
Guys, Friday, June 5th, down at the Lynn Auditorium. Doors open up at 6:30, and the show starts at 8. It's the Devil and Billy Shake. It's going to be at the Lynn Auditorium. You can get your tickets at lynnauditorium.com, or you can reach out via phone, 781-599-SHOW. Should be an outstanding show. You guys have done it in Lynn before. It is composed, directed, and starred by Brian Mays here, and it's definitely going to be worth a night out. The music in the show is outstanding. Brian, I thank you for coming on to the program. I want to wish everybody out there a happy and safe weekend from the studio here at LynnCAM TV. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best.